We've done quests, we've done NPCs, so it's time to learn how we can save and load both. First of all, let's create a new save game. We will start with saving and loading the quest component. So create an event called save quest component with these inputs: an array of quest structs, an integer that will represent the current quest ID, and a boolean for can change quest. Then promote all of them to variables and call from self save game to slot with the slot name quest save. To load, add a new event called load quest component with a quest component input. This will iterate over all the array of quests we just created, and using the quest component input we will call add quest and supply that with data from the for each loop. Then get from quests array the element with the index equal to the current quest ID, and from completed call select quest with the returned name and set can change quest to the boolean from the save function. Now let's do the same for the NPCs, but first we need to go to the NPC quest class and add a new string variable called name that should have instance editable turned on. In the save game, add an event called save NPC with a string and NPC quest holder as inputs. Now add them to a map between strings and NPC quest holders so we can easily access the quests when loading, and then we will call from self save game to slot using the same slot name. In order to load NPCs, we will use an event called load NPC quests with an NPC quest input. From that, get its name and check if we can find it in the map we created. If that returns true, set its quests variable to the first return value of the find node. Next step is to create a game instance that we will use to create the save instance, as this class is persistent over levels. So, on event initialize, check if the save game exists using the same slot name. If it exists, load it, cast to our save game class and promote it to a variable. If it doesn't exist, create it, promote it to a variable, then add a delay of 0 seconds to wait for the third person character to be created. Then cast to it to get its quest component, from which we will get the quests and call save quest component using default data. From there, get all the NPC quest actors and call save NPC using their name and quests. What's left is to save and load the data into their actual classes. Let's start with the quest component. On begin play, right after it, get a sequence. From then on, cast to our custom game instance and get the save game and promote it to a variable. Then, after 2 delays of 0 seconds, whose purposes are to wait for the UI to be created, specifically the quest list, call load quest component and supply the input with self. On event and play, call update cache, and then using the save game variable, call save quest component and plug in the quests, current quest ID and can change quest variables. In the NPC quest class, right after the parents begin play, cast to our game instance and promote the save game to a variable. Then on the completed branch of the first for each loop, call load NPC quest with self as NPC. Lastly, on event and play, call save NPC, again plugging in the name and quests variables. Finally, make sure to set the newly created game instance as the active game instance in the project settings. If you enjoyed this final episode, then consider hitting that subscribe button to stay up to date with other series and tutorials. The files for this project are available for free over on GitHub, so make sure to check out the link in the description. This has been a first for me and I got to learn so much about series, so expect more in the future and make sure to comment what series you would like to see. I want to thank everyone over on Patreon for their support, and especially to Akirama FM, Badr Al-Khachtani, Giovanni Pena, Golden Glowmaster, Leonardo Pereira and Realitas Verlas. Now make sure to go and watch this video to learn more about other RPG mechanics such as a skill tree. And as always, thanks for watching.